According to Outkick, which has been doing great reporting on this, not the first time that Angel Jussie Smollett Reese has made up a fake racism claim. Last June, according to Outkick, she accused a fan of harassing her and her black teammates and, quote, blocking them from entering their team hotel. A subsequent video of the scene and the comments from her own general manager told a very different story. They report that in June of 2024, her team, the Chicago Sky, was in Washington, D.C. for a game, and Angel Reese posted to X, quote, finding out our team's hotel to pull a camera as we get off the bus and put it in my teammate's face and harass her is nasty work. This really is out of control and needs to stop. Sky forward Michaela Anyawari accused someone of calling somebody else on the team and other women ghetto bitches. Isabel Harrison said this man stormed them to the point they couldn't even step off the bus. However, reports Outkick, months later, there's still zero proof of the alleged incident, and all evidence continues to suggest it did not happen in the way Reese and her teammates tell it. There is video from the scene. The man in question does not harass, storm at, threaten, or get in the face of the players, as the women stated. Rather, he simply recorded himself asking Carter, one of the players, if she had a chance to reach out to Caitlin Clark. Via the New York Post, the players on the Sky team claim the video was edited and fails to capture the man's alleged harassment. But in an interview with the Chicago Sun-Times a week after, the GM of the team, Jeff Pagliaccia, described the incident exactly as shown in this clip. Quote, it was over as fast as it started. I'm very confident in our security, always making our players feel safe. He said, quote, the man had a camera, was trying to approach guard Chennedy Carter. However, security was able to de-escalate the situation without the assistance of police. Here is the clip that we have of the incident.
Ms. Carter, have you got a chance to reach out to Caitlin?
Hey, man, come on with that.
Relax. Have you got a chance to reach out to Caitlin? Trinity, have you gotten a chance? The basketball world wants to know if you've gotten a chance to reach out to her.
This is the alleged terrible, terrible man who pulled a camera as we get off the bus, put in my teammate's face, and harass, in all caps, her. It's nasty work. It needs to stop. And that he was allegedly calling the women ghetto bitches, which is strange because I did not hear ghetto bitches on the tape. Outkick has been asking this team, the Chicago Sky team, what happened? What's the truth? Because what you allege does not match up with the video nor the GM's description of what actually happened, and asking whether they stand by Angel Reese's allegations. The team refuses to respond. They've also tried to contact several members of the team for comment. They've all refused to respond.
I mean, again, this is something that happened very commonly in the wake of the Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd incident, where we invented all of these very, sensitive frameworks for when racism happens, for when you're supposed to object and launch a sort of scandal. And I think people got to the point where they realized, if you're going to raise serious racism accusations, you need to have a serious basis for it. It seems like the whole country moved on from this sort of thing. I don't know why the NCAA, the Women's Basketball Association, is continuously
WNBA.
engulfed in these sort of thing. Yeah, the WNBA. Given that this is the sort of thing that is going to alienate people, that whole incident with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, with that foul that Caitlin Clark made on Angel Reese, which I've watched men's basketball for decades. Every single time a shooter is open, someone comes and tries to foul them by slapping the ball out of their hands, which is exactly what she did. But because of those two players, it became some sort of racial dynamic. I don't know what it is about this league. I do think they've defined themselves in this very politically oriented way, almost more so than the basketball. And I think it's ultimately going to just drive people away, because people go to watch basketball, not to be engulfed in all of these fake scandals all the time.
Exactly right. It's we barely want to watch the WNBA to begin with. People started to watch it because Caitlin Clark came in and was a total phenom. And the female Michael Jordan is how people were describing her. And so she got bottoms in the seats, and she got tickets sold, and she got people watching on television. And then the response from the league was uniform hate. I shouldn't say uniform, seems majority hate toward her, especially this Angel Reese, who obviously can't stand her and is insanely jealous of her and the attention she's getting, rather than basking in it, rather than enjoying the bigger spotlight that is on her as well. And you can get away with this because the WNBA seems to be just fine with anti-white racism and with Caitlin Clark going out there to flagellate herself with the I'm working on my white privilege as she gets nominated as the, Time Athlete of the Year. Like, that's what she's got to make sure she says. So she's happy to play the game and, isn't really making a stand one way or the other than to make sure everybody knows she realizes that she's got inherent bias too and white privilege.
And I do think the sports media is very much to blame. I guess people went into sports journalism excited about following the sports, the business of major professional leagues. These are interesting things. And at some point they decided, no, this is not enough. We have to get on a soapbox and be leaders of anti-racism efforts or anti-women efforts. And they turned themselves into these social justice warriors. So people were tuning into ESPN to find out about the latest highlights of various games. And instead they were being subjected to these lectures by these very cliched, banal people whose, understanding of politics is like very thin deep. And it was these constant lectures about social justice. And I guess the NBA sector still hasn't really stopped.
So why is it that the same people who heard these alleged racist comments from the crowd, none of which were substantiated, were not able, because they could use their ears for that, were not able to see with their eyes what Brittany Griner was mouthing? Like, why was it so clear in the one instance and so unclear in the other, such that it didn't even warrant reporting along the lines of what I just did, which is, here's the dispute. Some people say she looked like she was saying X. Other people say she looked like she was saying Y. It didn't even get that treatment by these same outraged anchors. They're quick to run to the flames when it could be anti-black racism, but when it could be anti-white racism, crickets.
Yeah, I looked at Brittany Griner. To be honest, it seemed to me, and I'm no lip reading expert, but it seemed pretty clear that she was saying something like with a racial intent about Caitlin Clark. I don't even really care that much. Like, it's the heat of a basketball game. It's an ugly thing to say. Like, why are you saying that? But why do we need national investigations every time somebody might have said something like a little bit inappropriate or a little bit off in the heat of the moment? That's the thing I thought we had left behind. People in 80,000 person arenas are going to say certain things that players hear or don't hear very well. Just, why do we need these constant scandals in order for people then to, get on that high horse and say racism is unacceptable, and half the time it turns out it was all invented in the first place?
I know.
And talk about the game.
This July, there's a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio de Janeiro. The bloc of emerging potential superpowers, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, some worry global demand for U.S. dollars could decrease, potentially bringing down the value of the dollars in your savings. While this transition will not happen overnight, the Rio Reset could mark a pivotal moment. So learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA and precious metals. Claim your free info kit on gold by texting MK to the number 989898. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free, no-obligation info kit on owning gold before July and the so-called Rio Reset. Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.